In 70 years of Olympic figure skating, only 8 American women have ever stood on the top step of the podium. 8. In 70 years. Think about what that number means. Thousands of American girls have laced up skates over those 7 decades and dreamed about that podium. Hundreds have made it to national championships. Dozens have made Olympic teams. A handful have been the best in the world at some point in their careers. 8 got the gold. And on February 19, 2026, a 20-year-old girl from Oakland, California became the 8th. She joined a club so small and so specific and so hard to enter that most people who have spent their whole lives in the sport never even get close to the door. But here is what makes this club genuinely remarkable. It is not just the number. It is the stories. Because every single one of those 8 women carried something onto the ice that had nothing to do with skating. Something personal and heavy and human that makes each of their gold medals mean more than the metal they are made of. This is the full story of all 8. And when you get to the end, you will understand exactly why number 8 is the person she is. Number 1. Tenley Albright. 1956, Cortina d'Ampezzo, Italy. When Tenley Albright was 11 years old, she contracted polio. Not a mild case. A serious one. The disease attacked her spine and paralyzed her partially. Doctors told her family the future was uncertain. There was real conversation about whether she would be able to walk normally again, let alone skate competitively. She skated again. She not only skated, she became the best in the country. 5 consecutive U.S. national titles. 2 world championship titles. And then the 1956 Olympics in Cortina. 2 weeks before the games, during a practice session, her skate blade caught an edge and sliced deep into her right ankle. Not a surface cut. A cut that went to the bone and hit the tendon and the blood vessels above it. Her father, who was a surgeon, flew to Italy and treated the wound himself. She was back on the ice within days. She won gold. Every judge ranked her first. The girl who had been partially paralyzed by polio at 11 years old and had cut her ankle to the bone 2 weeks before the biggest competition of her life stood on the Olympic podium in first place. After she retired, she went to Harvard Medical School. She became a surgeon. Then a vice president of the United States Olympic Committee. Then an inductee into the International Women's Sports Hall of Fame. The first woman to ever win this gold medal survived polio and skated on a sliced ankle to get there. That is the standard the club was founded on. Number 2. Carol Heiss. 1960, Squaw Valley, California. Carol Heiss had finished second to Tenley Albright in 1956. Second. Behind a woman who had survived polio and a bone-deep ankle cut. She was 15 years old and the silver medal must have felt like a closed door. She went home. She won 5 consecutive world championships from 1956 to 1960. She became the first woman in competition to land a double axel. And then the 1960 Olympics came to Squaw Valley, California, and Carol Heiss competed on home soil. She won. All 9 judges ranked her first. Every single one. She won it with something extra on the ice that day that people who were there have described ever since as a kind of fire that was impossible to look away from. What they did not know in the arena that day was what she had promised her mother before she died of cancer. Carol Heiss had told her mother she would win the gold medal. Her mother never saw it. But Carol delivered on the promise anyway. She later became a figure skating coach and trained some of the next generation of American skaters. She is 90 years old now. She was in Squaw Valley in 1960 when she kept a promise to her mother. She watched Alysa Liu win in Milan in 2026 on television. Number 3. Peggy Fleming. 1968, Grenoble, France. This one requires context that most people do not know. In 1961, a passenger aircraft crashed on its way to the World Figure Skating Championships in Prague. Everyone on board died, including the entire United States figure skating team. Coaches, skaters, administrators. Gone. In one moment. The American program had to rebuild from nothing. From a sport that had just lost its entire next generation in one catastrophic event. It took 7 years. And the person who emerged from those 7 years to carry the rebuilt program on her shoulders was a 19-year-old from Colorado named Peggy Fleming. She won in Grenoble in 1968. She was the only American athlete at those entire games to win a gold medal. In any sport. Every other American came home without one. Peggy Fleming brought back the only one. The 1968 Grenoble Olympics were the first to be broadcast live and in color to a worldwide television audience. Peggy Fleming won gold on the biggest stage American figure skating had ever had. And she did it 7 years after the sport had lost everyone who was supposed to be there before her. She later became one of the sport's most beloved commentators. She is still involved. She watched Alysa Liu win in Milan and she posted about it. Number 4. Dorothy Hamill. 1976, Innsbruck, Austria. Dorothy Hamill is the reason millions of American kids took up figure skating in the late 1970s. Not because she was technically perfect. Because she made you feel something watching her that you did not expect to feel watching a sporting event. She was joyful. Genuinely, infectiously, unmistakably joyful on the ice in a way that the audience absorbed whether they wanted to or not. She had a short wedge haircut that became one of the most imitated hairstyles of the entire decade. She invented a spin combination called the Hamill Camel that became part of the technical vocabulary of the sport. And she won in Innsbruck with a performance that still gets described by people who were there as pure magic. She was also the last skater to win the Olympics without a triple jump. The sport was about to change into something harder and more technical. Dorothy Hamill was the last champion of the era when grace alone could win it. After her gold, she skated professionally. She appeared on Dancing with the Stars. She wrote 2 autobiographies. She is now 69 years old and the wedge haircut has never entirely gone away. Number 5. Kristi Yamaguchi. 1992. Albertville, France. Kristi Yamaguchi is the first Asian American woman to win a Winter Olympic gold medal in any event. When she stepped onto that podium in Albertville, she was making a kind of history that went beyond the scorecard. She had also beaten one of the deepest women's fields in Olympic history to do it. The lineup included Midori Ito and Tonya Harding, the first and second women who had ever landed triple axels in competition. She had a minor stumble in her free skate. It did not matter. The quality and artistry of her program was so far beyond what anyone else put on the ice that it was not even a close decision. She also had a Dorothy Hamill moment backstage before she competed. The champion who had inspired her as a child found her before she went out for her gold medal program and wished her luck. One American women's figure skating champion to the next. The line continuing. After retiring, she founded the Always Dream Foundation, which supports childhood literacy in underserved communities. She is still involved in skating. She was watching in Milan in 2026 when the line reached its 8th member. Number 6. Tara Lipinski. 1998, Nagano, Japan. Tara Lipinski was 15 years old. She was the underdog. She was the challenger to Michelle Kwan, who the entire skating world assumed was going to win. She landed a triple loop combination that nobody had ever done in competition before. The kind of jump combination that the sports rulebook had not yet fully accounted for, because nobody had thought to try it. She was fearless in the specific way that 15-year-olds sometimes are, not because they do not know the stakes but because they have not yet accumulated enough losses to be afraid of one more. She beat Michelle Kwan. She became the youngest individual gold medalist in Winter Olympics history. A record that still stands today. And Michelle Kwan, the greatest American figure skater who ever lived, went home with silver. Tara Lipinski is now a figure skating commentator. She was in the broadcast booth in Milan in 2026 calling the competition when Alysa Liu ended the drought. She cried on air. Number 7. Sarah Hughes. 2002, Salt Lake City, Utah. She was in 4th place after the short program. 4th. Not 2nd, not 3rd. 4th. 1 place further from a medal than anyone had been and still won in Olympic figure skating history. She said afterward that she skated the free skate with the specific freedom of someone who had nothing to lose. She landed 2 triple jump combinations in the same program. Nobody had ever done that in Olympic figure skating before. She moved from 4th to 1st in 4.5 minutes. Michelle Kwan, who had come back after the Nagano loss to try again, fell and finished 3rd. Irina Slutskaya was 2nd. Sarah Hughes, the 4th place skater nobody had counted on, was 1st. She went to Yale. She got her law degree. She moved on with the quiet confidence of someone who had already done the most surprising thing anyone could do and was entirely at peace with it. She was in the stands in Milan in 2026. She watched Alysa Liu end the 24-year drought that started the night Sarah Hughes began it. She posted on Instagram immediately after. She said she was honored to be there in person to pass the title. One generation to the next. In the same arena. In real time. And then number 8. Alysa Liu. 2026, Milan, Italy. You know her story by now. The father who survived Tiananmen Square. The 1-bedroom apartment with 3 bunk beds. The Oakland ice rink at 5 years old. The national title at 13. The Olympics at 16. The PTSD. The retirement. The driver's license in Everest Base Camp and Fortnite until 4 a.m. The comeback on her own terms. The music she chose. The dress she designed. The lip piercing she did herself with a needle. And then the free skate in Milan. 3rd place going in. The program she had designed entirely herself from the first note to the last. Her coach giving a thumbs up to her teammate 60 seconds before the most important skate of her career. The smile she wore through every jump and spin and step sequence. The finger pointed to the sky at the end. Score of 226.79. Gold medal. The first American woman to win individual Olympic figure skating gold in 24 years. The club had its 8th member. Here is what connects all 8 of them across 7 decades and 7 different countries where they competed. Not one of them was supposed to be easy. Tenley Albright overcame polio and a sliced ankle. Carol Heiss fulfilled a deathbed promise to her mother. Peggy Fleming rebuilt a sport that had lost its entire future in a plane crash. Dorothy Hamill made the whole country fall in love with skating. Christy Yamaguchi broke a barrier that had never been broken before. Tara Lipinski was fearless enough at 15 to do something nobody had tried. Sarah Hughes had nothing to lose and skated like it. Alysa Liu retired at 16 with PTSD and came back and ended a drought on her own terms. Every single one of them brought something onto the ice that went beyond the technical score. Something personal. Something heavy. Something that the gold medal at the end was a response to rather than just a reward. Alysa Liu is 20 years old. There are almost certainly more chapters in her story before it is finished. The question of whether a 9th woman joins this club, and when, and what she will have had to overcome to get there, is one of the most compelling open threads in American sports. But right now on February 28, 2026, there are 8. And every single one of them earned it the hard way.